on the Picabia. And then there are a lot of animation how-to links I already have. This will be a Picabia animation combination. And Picabia dealt with time, so I'm definitely looking at time because of the animation, and time the way that I'm going to do fading in and out like memories. So I've started with my background layer, which is all white. And it's important to keep everything on layers in order to be able to animate this simply. So I've got kind of an Art Nouveau thing that I have played with on my iPhone, and on a lot of different layers on different, I have an Art Nouveau image here that I have played with. And some of them I've added gradients and filters, and I've changed colors, and I've done a variety of different things to them. On this purple one over here, I'll show you how I am going to transform it. First, I want to make sure it's unlocked, and select all, and edit, transform, and then you can do things like warp, perspective, distort, skew. I want them to look like they're moving through time, both color-wise and every other possible thing that I can think of. So I've skewed that. That doesn't mean that I can't do something else to it. It is now sideways. If I go to move that across my screen, it looks like it's going a direction, but I can come in and also apply, say, a warp to it, which will let me make it more wavy. So I have it warped that way. I can come in and warp it again. Transform, warp, and I can't see everything, so I'm going to zoom out and warp it from the bottom as well. Maybe warp it a little ways from the inside so she isn't quite so square like a piece of paper that's bending. So you can do some things with warp and change your image as long as you're doing it on different layers. So I'm going to click the check mark and apply that. And I have that in a different layer. All right, so everything that I bring in, then the main thing that I'm going to do to keep it Picabia-like, besides moving it and overlapping it, is play with the transparency. So we'll start with this one, I guess. I'm thinking here. This is my main image. I think I will put her later in. I think I will start with the black one and see what I can do here. And you see that I've changed the form of her face as well, besides making her black. So I'm going to come on my background and duplicate that layer. And I'm looking for entitled 1 over here. That's my main document. And then I'll go over to make sure it is there. All right, and at this point, I can move her. I can resize it. I can do all kinds of things with the transparency. She's really big and dominant, so I think the first thing I'm going to do is move her. And she's on a layer of all of her own. And then I could just come to opacity and change the opacity, and then she becomes like a gray image. Or I also can just leave the opacity alone at first and play with things like color burn, color dodge, lighter, overlay, and see which one of these things that I like. Vivid light, hard mix, difference. See if there's anything that I like that's happening there. Not really, so I'm going to leave it at normal and then come in and change the opacity. I also can transform her shape on the layer as I do that. But right now I'm going to leave that there and go get another one. And this one I'm just going to leave alone because I like the fresco filter, and duplicate it and put it in Untitled 1. Go back to Untitled 1. And this one I'm going to drop out and multiply. All right, and now I can see some of the background. I've got that transparency thing going on. I can move her around where I'd like her to be. I think I kind of like her with some of the face showing and some of it having the one behind it. So you can see already then, as Picabia did, but in Photoshop, that you can see the different layers coming through, which is kind of a cool effect. And so it's making you feel like it's moving through space or time. So let's see, I've got that one. This one I've already transformed and did some things to it. So I'll duplicate it. Come find my layer, Untitled. And first thing I'm going to do is drop out the white. Change the size. Maybe move her up here. And I'm going to flip it. Edit, transform, flip horizontal. So she doesn't look exactly like the other shapes that I have going on there. All right, and I'm going to leave it at that transparency for now until I get everything else in here. I mean, just leave that one like that and that one like that. I'm not sure yet. So there's that one. I'm going to go ahead and close it. I'm saving as I close, and I'll go back and rename them. All right. Now there is my transformed one that I played with you all. So I will duplicate that one. Duplicate is not showing up for some reason. So if that's the case, I'll just select it and copy it. Don't know what I've done that it's not showing up, and paste it. All right, and again now, do I want her to come in from the right and the left, or the left or the right? So I'm going to flip it horizontal and free transform it so it's not quite so big, and move her in like so. And then I can look and see what I want to have here, anything happening as I move through that. I don't see anything that makes me too excited there. So I'll go with normal and change the opacity. And I also can change the layer order when I get them all in here if I don't like where they look in their positioning of the document. All right, so I've got that one. I'm going to leave it alone. I did that one. All right, so here's my main one. Whoops, did it wrong. Duplicate onto Untitled. All right, now, all right, so if I drop out all the white, I lose some of the interesting effects. So I think we will just make her a little more transparent than she already is. Not a whole lot. All right, so at this time, then I can just pull them up and down, play with their placement, play with their order, decide where it is I want which one. I don't know which one I have on. I have the purple. I have that black one on top of that one. That's kind of cool. I'm not crazy about the purple color. It's too different. So I can go to image adjust on it. Excuse me. Image adjust. Use saturation. Play with the hue in real time to see if something fits better than purple with my document. Green, yellow. I'm thinking with that. Less saturated, lighter. All right, so I've made it smaller and coming in from the corner, and I'm going to duplicate it again and move the duplication up here and make it even more transparent as it moves through time. Transparency of this more too. Okay, so the only ones that I'm really not seeing is this one and this one. I have that under multiply. And then maybe it needs to come forward. I still have the central one, but now she's a little too dominant, so I can change the opacity. And in Picabia did have multiple faces showing at the same time. So I've got the same face, multiple faces in time, and this black one. And I think I'll do the same thing as I did with the other ones, so it won't be so out of place by itself. Whoops. Background 5. Here. And make it more transparent. So she's fading out more. And then maybe she has to go on top of a layer. Now I can always come in and erase some of the edges to make it a little bit more seamless. And feel like it fits in better. And I think this one. No, I don't think that worked any better. Keep it there like that. Okay. So right there, I can call that my Picabia. Not happy with the top of her head. Free transform. Move that up a little bit. There, I like it better. And save that as the actual Picabia piece. And I think that's pretty interesting, and it definitely has the style of Picabia with multiple images. So I'll just save as. All right, so now if I'm going to go and see what I could do